Hey everyone, this is Snark with Snark's Domain. I'm not sure if the audio was working there for the intro. Hopefully it was. I can't hear it for some reason. I've got something mixed up on my side. So what are we looking at today? This is the test card. And yeah, we've got some new pearly whites. Let's see if I can get this on there. Had a couple of these soldered on the back, so pretty exciting. Well, not the back, the front. My previous ones were all burnt out, so yeah, had to get that fixed. So yeah, we got the card back, and you guys can also chat in the Discord if you want to. Let me just get that zoomed in a bit. I don't know if that's bright enough. I'm gonna turn up the brightness just a little bit here. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Is audio working? Hopefully it is. I think it is. I can see the audio bar in OBS. Anyways, yeah, I got two new connectors soldered on, and the previous ones were pretty burnt on the 12-volt pins. Jake says you should whip it out and peel all over the card. Peel, yeah. That'd make for an interesting stream. That'd make for two interesting streams, kind of. The exposure seems a little bit. Anyway, we're just going to go a little brighter. I can't tell if it's because I've adjusted brightness on my monitor or what, but I also don't think that focus is in focus. Yeah, so they did a pretty good job. Actually got to see them soldered in real time, so that was cool. But yeah, let's get this card prepped for going back together. It's been apart for a little while, which has been no fun. All right, I guess I have to do the backside putty, which I totally forgot about. And to do that, because we're going to put the back plate on first. Get some gloves on here. I don't need 3 gloves, just 2. Great. So we're going to take the TGPP10 that we took off the card. We're going to put it back on. Same stuff. And I should probably... Do I have to clean one of these? I'll clean this one. That won't take me long. I'm really hoping this card works once we get it back together. I'm sure it will, though. The guy that was doing the work on it seemed quite experienced, so got a nice camera setup and everything. Perhaps someday he'll have a YouTube channel. Who knows? Go. That's part of it. So yeah, I'm just gonna knead this a little bit just so it softens up and makes it easier to roll. This stuff's what, 3 years old or so? It's been used for quite a while, so it ain't fresh putty, but it's still good. Well, and it's not good compared to what we have available today. And yet, I feel like I need to, well, keep it consistent on the card so that the results are consistent without too many variables changing, which is, I think, is important. You change too many variables, then you can't really compare two results. And yes, this 3-year-old putty still rolls. Still rolls pretty good. Okay, so I had a strip of putty along behind where the VRAM is. Go with something like that for those three. We got 3 there, so we'll go like that. I'm gonna cut that a little bit shorter. See, that doesn't seem like it's in focus again for some reason, and that's the wrong mouse. Too many computers. First world problems. That's a little bit better. And then we had a strip along the VRM. Sean Shafiq says, I think this ultra thin putty would be perfect for PDS5's GDR6 and some VRM components. They're kind of thin. Yeah, I mean, I've actually done a PS5. You can use, I don't think it was a PS5 Pro. I think it was just the regular PS5. And you can use pretty much any putty you want, and it'll work good. I was using UTP-8 on the PS5 I did. This is not the ultra thin putty. This is like the old school OG putty that's now discontinued. That's on the test card, but let's see. I think I want to give that a little wipe down here real quick. Get some of these guys out. These are just dry cotton makeup wipes. I'm putting isopropyl on there. Just gonna wipe this up a little bit. I don't really like this backplate with the slots cut. I know they look cool, but they don't really add anything to the card other than a spot for the putty to not make contact with metal and have worse off conducting of heat. So Alright. Do a tilt test, make sure the putty is gonna stay on there. It is. And this should go something like that. And then we're gonna get some screws, which I'm hoping I didn't lose any screws. Definitely had a good chance to. I bumped it a couple times and some screws went falling, so. Plus I gotta make sure I don't do this in the wrong order here. I might have lost a screw. We're gonna find out. Worst case, I do have some spare screws. Just a second here, gotta check. Okay, we might be missing a couple screws. It's something I'm gonna have to... Oh, there's one right there. Maybe not. But maybe. There's one right there. Magnets. Magnets are very good for retaining screws, so thank you to whoever decided to put a bunch of magnets there. Now, I gotta make sure I don't mix this up. These two go here. And then these two, they're good, so I don't need to put any screws there. Which means I do need one here. And I do need one here. Two, three, four. I thought I just had a fifth screw. That's wild. There's a very good chance I'm missing two screws. Probably something I could have figured out before the stream. Let me just grab a container here. All right, let's see what we need. That looks like M2 by 4 to 4.5 millimeters. Pitch 3, 4.5. Got these guys. Oh, it needs to be longer. Let's go M2 by, do I have M2 by 5? So it's like a 2.5. I think we're close. This one, 4.5. 6, 2 by 5. It's the 5 millimeters. It's a 2.5. M2 by 5. Aha, this guy. Almost certain that's the one. I think I need 2 of those guys. Crazy. It's actually too long. It is the 4.5s. Or the 4s maybe? 4 looks too short. I think I'd rather go too short rather than too long for these ones. Then again, I guess it wouldn't hurt if they were sticking out the end a little bit. Yeah, that's not right. We are going to try the 5s. I mean, the threads are just going to stick out the back of the card. It's not going to really affect anything. So those are threaded through holes. And it's just the 2 that hold in the I/O plate. Ooh. And they use a smaller bit size, which is kind of annoying. I'm sure I'll find those missing screws at another time. Now that's interesting. I actually think, let's see here. Is that gonna tighten? Nope. Let's get these in a bit more, even though it's the wrong bit. We're just gonna make sure it's kind of holding it together. Okay, so the screws actually have to thread into this, and they're too small, which means they're the wrong size. Okay, back to the drawing board. So that means they are M2.5s. I'm sure I'll find them eventually. We just don't have them right now. 2.5 by 5. Let's try the short ones. You know what? If the 3mm ones work, and that's what we'll use, and if not, we'll use the 4mm ones. Okay, with the PCB, we're going to use the 4s. It's just going to be a little bit too short with the 3s. This is not an advertisement for laptopking.com, but it sure is handy having a bunch of screws for when you need them. Thanks, Laptop King. I bought this thing probably 2.5, 3 years ago. Right. So this guy, thinking I can even. No, I still have to. Yeah, we're gonna go back to the big bit. How's your guys' weekend going? Mine's going decent. Now that I got my card back, it's kind of exciting. Get this thing back up and running again. Okay, now we're going to pick this up and awesome. Yeah, the threads are not protruding to hit anything. They're protruding like maybe 0.5 millimeter. So I'm happy with that. Going with those 4 millimeter ones. Once the card's fully assembled, I'll probably double check that before I go any further. And plug it in. We don't want to damage anything. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. That is correct. This guy is for what exactly? I feel like I'm... Yeah, I'm not sure. It'll be fine. I think I'm missing a screw there. That's interesting. Either way, okay, we got that. Let's plug in the Zotac RGB symbol. Got that. We're gonna get the cooler over here and get this. Let's get zoomed out here a little bit more. For the other RGB. Eli says hamburgers. I could totally go for a hamburger right about now. Which card is this? Brazilde asks. This is the test card, my Zotac Amp Hollow Edition. It just went in for some rocket surgery. I took it to a repair shop because I had extremely significant voltage drop, and on one of the, well, I guess 2 of the connectors, but really it was just one that was really bad. The 8-pin connectors. I've taken this card apart maybe, I don't know, I've lost track. Probably 120 or so times. And each time, like, disconnecting the 8-pin power connectors, replugging them in. At one point I was using those 180 degree adapters, and that was a bad idea. That's where the damage started. Some of the 12 volt pins got blackened. I was able to clean them up a little bit on the card side, and I swapped cables, I crimped new cables. I'm on the 3rd set of cables actually. But the voltage was getting down to like 11.29 or something like that. Actually, I'll show you guys. Let's just pop over to the second screen. No, that didn't work. Device not available. Oh. Okay, let's try this again. Alright, so if you guys could see my mouse, I'm sure. So here we have the PCI Express slot where it's grabbing 12 volts. That's fine. That's happy and everything, right? Here's GPU 8-pin number 1, GPU 8-pin number 2. When I boot it up, it's fine when there's like no load being pulled. the voltage is fine, right? But then as soon as I'm under load, which I think this is this package power? That actually seems like that's low for some reason. It's supposed to be like another. Either way, you can see this one. I've got it conditionally formatted. It gets as low as 11.239. That's the worst one, I think. This was during a Furmark test. Scrolling down, you just go off the colors. Again, this one's not bad at 11.7, but this one, it's doing bad things. And this time during this test, it just crashed. So, yeah, no bueno. So that's why it was time for them to get replaced. It's been quite a while that it needed to get done. Yeah, the only other thing that's failed on this card is this fan connector. The blue pin had snapped off on the original one, so I had to splice in another cable, so I'd still be using the same exact fan rather than swapping the fan and then having to retest everything. Yeah, I shouldn't have to force that. Here we go. Okay, we are back for the most part to how it was configured. Just a couple more little things here. I should probably clean my desk. Have you ever done memory upgrades? No, I'm not. I wish. Someday. You know, I'd love to do that someday. I've never done micro soldering yet. Not since high school anyways. I'd be super rusty, guys. But I do have some of the like microscope and like camera equipment, so I'm like moving towards that. I think I'll try to do that at some point. I'm just not there yet. All right, so we had a piece of this kind of right there. That's too long. We'll chop that up here. But yeah, I'd like to get into micro soldering. I'll be a complete noob at it, so that's. But you know, over time, maybe I'll get good. Hopefully, it would be nice. Okay, I'm actually going to have to add a bit of TGPP10 from the used bucket. We're going to try and find some similarly. This stuff's too soft. Actually, no. Yeah, I mean, this stuff. I think this might be the one. Someone had made a 3070 to 20 gigs. 20 gigs instead of 16. I'm thinking you probably mean, do you mean 16? Probably. Because it's got 8 gigs to start. Unless it was one of those 3070s that had a PCB. Oh yeah, that's going to be similar, so we're going to use some of that. That in a little ball. Planning on buying a Disk Saver RX 580 16 gig. Oh, that's cool. Kind of neat. 16 gigs. Can't go wrong with that. So I'm just aiming for around 4.5 to 5 millimeters for the VRM on this card. It's looking like it's going to be the treat right there. Just kind of, what I should have done was used a bit of this to kind of dab on there a little bit, make it stick better. Work. You know what, I'm going to put that in one of these little containers just in case I need it for touch-ups. I got this stuff still, that's good. Yeah, let's go for applying the thermal paste. How does UTP-4 putty end up doing on the Asus laptop? I need to buy putty to try to fix my bricked Asus laptop. It's a liquid metal model. I'm still testing that actually, and it's good. It's actually have to like troubleshoot. I put too much on the VRM, so I've got to remove some of that. But it's pretty decent. That being said, you know, I would go and get the Hound's Eye stuff instead at this point for Asus laptops. The UTP-4 can get thin enough, that's not a problem. Decent consistency. I find the Hound's Eye is a little bit easier to work with because you can roll it by hand. The UTP-4 is a little bit on the sticky side. Also, on the test card, and we're going to go over the numbers, UTP-4, at least in the ETC hash test I do, it didn't perform as well as the Hound's Eye stuff. So, I mean, I would get the Hound's Eye at this point. You know, I think Upsire's going to have to probably make some slight improvements to their thin putty if they can bump up the thermal conductivity a little bit. Not just like whatever they claim, but the actual like effectiveness, and then maybe call it, you know, UTP-5 ultra thin or something like that. Then that would be, I think that'd be ideal. I think that's what needs to happen. That being said, if people can't get the Hound's Eye stuff, then I think there's nothing wrong with going with UTP-4. The gap is so thin that it's not going to be a significant difference anyways when we're talking about like 0.2 of a millimeter. This test card, it's got gaps around 1.8 millimeters, so the difference in performance is just a lot greater. But yeah, if with the 0.2 millimeter gap, literally like 1/9 what this card has, it's going to work out pretty good. But again, I'd get the Hound's Eye right now for Asus laptops. If you can, anyways. And if you can't, then UTP-4. And I'm only using MX4 thermal paste for testing because it's cheap, and that's what I started testing with on the core when I'm doing VRAM tests, so I want to keep everything consistent. But if you're doing a device, whether it's a laptop, GPU, PS5, I would recommend going with phase change material. I'd even skip the liquid metal completely and just go, yeah, PTM. At least try it. I think people are pretty happy that do. And like, yeah, technically the liquid metal is going to slightly outperform it, but not by as much as you think once you give it a good burn-in. Alright, so we've got putty there. Got that stuff. Paste is on the core. We've wiped this guy. It's no dust there. Fan controllers. Yeah, we're good for applying some putty. Yeah, no worries, man. Glad to be of service. Just gonna wash this guy up. I need to refill that thing. You'd be surprised how fast you go through isopropyl alcohol. But I get a pretty good price at Costco. Get a little 4-pack. I bought one the other day. Pretty much anytime I'm at Costco, I buy a 4-pack. And I don't have a massive stockpile. This is the stuff. It's good. Isopropyl, 99%. This is the same stuff that the repair shop was using. We were talking about it, and he gets his stuff from Costco as well. Just the price is too good. All right, I'm hoping there's enough in this syringe to do this job. Because if not, I'm gonna have to get some out of the container. I don't really want to have to do that, because that would just take some time. Down to the wire. Let's see. Yeah, we had enough. So yeah, this stuff's pretty sticky. You really have to, if you're going to use UTP-4, I would recommend using a syringe. You can get them pretty cheap on Amazon. This is just a 60 milliliter. I've cut the nozzle. For this device, I need a 6 millimeter log. But, you know, if you had an Asus laptop, you could just leave it. I think it starts off at around 4 millimeters, something like that. So, all right, that's going to be just fine like that. A little bit of wastage, but not much. And we'll do a tilt test. Oh yeah, still sticking on there, no problemo. I don't see any dust. Man, I hope this thing turns on. Great, so we got that. Get these corner screws started. Man, it's good to have this thing back together. It's been apart for a while. Work and life have been a little too busy of late. And yeah, lots of stuff going on, but them's the beans. All right, so once we have those lined or started in, that kind of aligns the back plate with the rest of the card. And then we'll do these spring ones. We'll get them all started. You know, these spring screws have been the real champs. They just keep on keeping on. I'm just getting these roughly about the same, and then I'll do the star pattern from there. Just so everything turns in gradually at the same time. Yeah, I'm going to be going out on a job probably tomorrow night or the next day for a couple days. And then maybe another job, I'm not sure after that, hard to say. And then I'm going to a LAN party, and then I'm flying to Ontario to visit some family. So hopefully I can find time to do a couple tests. Well, a couple putties. I've got too many putties on the back burner right now that we have to, new ones that we have to get tested that we've never tested before, so. Which is always exciting. Just means you guys are going to have lots more options to pick from when you go and buy putty. And I think that is a good thing. I think the more competitors we have in the space means prices are going to be a bit more competitive, hopefully. And maybe there'll be some new really good ones out there. I have some high hopes for a couple of them. Okay, whenever you're doing a thermal putty job on a GPU or NVMe, anything with this kind of connector, afterwards, you know, I didn't touch this much, but I might have bumped it, right? And there's silicone oils in the putty, and that acts as an insulator, which prevents the transfer of data and electricity, so, and power. So you do want to wipe the connector afterwards with some 99% isopropyl alcohol, just to make sure there's no residue on there. Otherwise your PC might not boot, or it might just be unstable during a test, which I've experienced both. That's not fun, having to troubleshoot that. Yeah, Zotac is kind of weird this way, you know. This has been a good card, and it has good thermals, it does. But why block the airflow? You know, I know they're going for a certain look, but I think they could have opened this up a lot more. I don't know, maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm just nitpicking, but yeah, those are the two new connectors, and those pins look pretty good. Let's see if I can get this working with the microscope again. I'll turn the light on. Nice. Those look pretty good. You know, it looks like that one pin on the bottom left there, this guy here, it almost looks like a little bit of melted plastic just from the soldering job. I'm not worried about that. That's all at the base anyways. So, yeah, those are looking all pretty clean. I'm pretty happy with that. They were not looking very good before. So, nice. Good job on the guy that did that for me. It only cost a little bit, and it's worth it, especially for this card. Okay, I'm gonna try plugging this thing in and see if the computer boots. So yeah, just give me a minute here. Alright, press the power button, and I see lights. Sweet, there's a green boot light. That feels good. Oh man, you guys have no idea. I mean, there was no guarantee that it was gonna keep working, right? It was in working order before, but it's not every day you take it to a place where they apply a bunch of heat to it, so yeah. And I did a pretty thorough cleaning job. Yeah, all the fans stopped, so that's good. It's usually a good sign. Alright, let's see if I can get some space here. Desk isn't too bad, but I'm going to give it a little wipe. I'll save that one. This stream's a little bit later than I usually like to stream, but that's kind of how it goes when you're working. I just had to drive for like 5 hours, and I only found out, well, about 20 minutes before I left that I was going to have to do that. So I was planning to do this like a few hours before now. Luckily, I think I'll have enough time to sleep in a little bit. Yeah, I'm just going to, let's see, test bench 2.1. Nice. Yeah, it definitely booted. Should probably get rid of the Firestorm stuff. I just have it so I can do the RGB of the video card. Okay, so let's just run a bit of firmmark. We're gonna get the fans going to 85, and we'll do profile 4, which is the memory overclock plus 100% power limit. Core is just not overclocked at all, just the memory, and that's looking good. Oh, that was weird. It came back. Is that firmmark 2? No, that's 1. Why does this look different? I mean, I just want to do this, but I'm used to a different... whatever, we'll run it. I just want to make sure... Make sure this is going to be okay for the voltage. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. I'm calling that 12 volts. That rounds up. That rounds up to 12 all day long. Yeah, you can see the rail here was always fine. And pin 1 was decent. Pin 2 is still barely. Yeah, not even enough to mention, really. And that's pulling the 280 watts, so I'm thinking we're good here. That is good to see. Ambience, we've got the 2 sensors in front of the 2 of the fans. They're about an inch in front of the GPU intake fans. And it's measuring the ambient temps in real time using a Aqua Computer Quadro. But I found that the Farbworks work just as well and they're cheaper. So if you ever want to just measure ambient temp with something semi-accurate, yeah, definitely recommend going that route. But that's more of not everyone needs that, but it's fun. If you want to, you can. So yeah, I'm gonna run that test, and I guess I should get that recording. I'll do that in a second here. But let's go and do minimize that. Let's go crunch the numbers for the ETC hash test that we already did. I'll probably run the test again, but I'm not expecting it to be any different. So we'll get the second screen up and running here. I think it's this one. So we're going to move the calculator sheet, create a copy to ETC hash. And we're also going to, yeah, we'll just do the ETC hash tonight. I think I have to be inside there. Control C. Escape. Control F. Replace all those values. All right. So each one of these lines represents 1 hour. VRAM T delta. Yeah, it's pretty stable. Average is 60.88. We're going to use the second hour as always. This card's not. You can see the voltage was even on only on 182 watts. It was still going down as low as 11.3. Ooh, 11.28. 11.17? That's nuts. No wonder this thing was unstable. Look how low that voltage is. That's nuts. These are supposed to be 12 volts. I'm really glad I built that in. Min max average 2592. Yeah, that's the normal fan speed. Cool. So we are going to take this result here, Control C, and then we're going to go to the VRAM chart, paste values. This is Putty. I think it's August. We're going to call it 1st, just in case I do a stream tomorrow and do more testing. AXP, I'll have to double check which store I bought this from. It was either the Upsiren one or the Middle 99 or maybe the Thermalright, whichever one was cheaper. And we're going to go UTP-4 ultra thin. Yeah, we're going to copy that. We'll see base values. AXP. Again, I'll fill that in later. So we got 60.4. Yeah, I mean, it's not great. Not great. Not as good as the Hound's Eye at 1.8 millimeters. It's still better than the HY 234. That's the 4-watt stuff, right? 60.4, 63.3. But I would... That's why I would recommend getting... Look, like that's, what, 6 degrees? Yeah. Like, if you have a thin gap laptop or device that needs something that can squish down smaller than 1 millimeter with particle size 0.03, I'm thinking you're going with the Hound's Eye or the Zezio, which I'm pretty sure that's just rebranded HY236. Like, there's no other putty, you know, there's no other putty that gets that thin. I'm recommending a 3 times whatever I measured the particle size with calipers, and saying that that's how realistically thin you're going to get it. That's just my recommendation. I might be a bit off on that, but the only other one I really kind of want to test is TH949-1 and the -3. I need to chat with Pencham again and see if I can buy some of their -3 stuff. I can buy the 949, I think, on DigiKey, to double check that, but that'd be interesting to test that out on an Asus laptop. But I mean, that'd be maxing it out, but that would be cool if that worked. For it's 3 degrees here, it's not going to be that much on a laptop. It'll be maybe 0.25 of a degree. You're best off just getting this stuff right now, you know, and until Upsiren, I guess I should call that Upsiren. Yeah. Improves the UTP-4. It's a good backup option before you go the 234 route. But, and I think they will. I think they'll be eager to want to improve their product and compete up here. That'd be cool. Because then we have, you know, decent prices going forward. So, yeah, I've got to do a bunch of work on this chart. I'm going to run the Furmark test though, but yeah, you guys can see the UTP-4 here. It's not terrible. It's just not doing as well as I'd like it to. Yeah, that's what it is. I can't change the results. They just are what they are. So, oh, I had that still going. Sorry, that bright light. Well, folks, I'm gonna run the tests on UTP-4 and keep finish that one off. We have too many putties to talk about. Let's see what we have here. We've got, where did they go? got like 6 putties I have to test. We got some Hound's Eye HY 208. It's the gray version, so it's the 268. They just put a little hole punch. Oh, you guys can't see that, can you? Let me fix that in a moment here. Get that focus going good. Alright, so they just put a hole punch. They'll always put like a 208 or 206 or 204. HY 200 series just means putty. And then this last number is what they're rating it for thermal conductivity. Not that we listen to those ratings, but that's what they're rating it at. And then on here, you're going to get a package, right? And it's going to put the hole punch next to the color. This one's gray. They also sell green, pink, blue, and black. I wouldn't get the black, to be honest, unless you're trying to like hide the putty on like a black device. Maybe you would go that route. And then we've got Hound's Eye HY 2010, which is their 10 watt per meter Kelvin rated stuff. I got the gray one again there. Looks like they've got a pink and a blue. And then we have the Maxtor AP306, which the tools and okay, yeah, I mean slightly different lid. No, the lids are the same. The lids are almost the same. They're a little bit different. The diameter is pretty close to the same, but I don't know. We'll test this out and see how it does as well. And then we have the let me fix this. We got the G-lid putties. We have 3 of them. What do we got? We got 6 watt, 10 watt, and 4 watt. So I'll have to test those. Yeah, see how they do. I'd expect better things from these 2 than this one, obviously, but yeah, those are the putties that we have to test. So lots to do, as always. And I've got, I think, I'll have to double check if I think I have another couple orders on the way. It's hard to keep track, guys. Like, sometimes when I order stuff, it like takes months to show up or weeks, or it's just kind of all over the place. So, but we'll test the Hound's Eye stuff next, and then we'll go and test the G-lid stuff after we do this UTP-4. Yeah, I think that's it for tonight. It's 1 o'clock where I am in the morning, so I need to go to sleep. But thanks for tuning into my stream, and it's good to have this test card back up and running, and the voltage seems to be happy, so I'm happy about that. We're back at 12 volts. And yeah, I'm not going to use any of those 90-degree adapters anymore. And I just used, right now I'm using some factory EVGA cables, but just for tonight, then I'll be crimping my own. I never got around to doing that. Just kind of work and life got busy, but I'll, yeah, be doing that. So thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys joining in on the stream, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Snark's Domain out.